for this Halloween, we ran a contest, a flash fiction contest, where basically the idea was a bunch of folks in our community could submit very, very short stories to our Discord, and then they could vote on each other's entries and see which ones rose to the top. The idea was that 3 winners would rise to the top from the general voting, and we would also pick a couple of our favorites so that 5 people would win the grand prize, which is a $50 gift certificate to the Xbox Gear Shop. And so we've got our 5 winners, and then on top of those, we've actually got a few honorable mentions because our artist, Megan, went through the entries and she chose her favorites that she wanted to illustrate. And so not only did some of those grand prize winners get illustrations, but there were a few more that got illustrations that didn't even win the grand prize. They just got a piece of art. And so we're going to be going over those entries, doing dramatic readings of them, and sharing the art that Megan created. So I'm going to pop open my notes here. And so it's not just going to be me that's going to be doing this. I've got Joe Swarner here. He's going to be taking a turn. And not pictured in the background, we've also got Wonder Stormbreaker, our marketing director, who's going to be doing some of this reading.
I'm just like a ghost.
Exactly. Honestly, I don't know why we haven't done this more often, having people just haunt us. I mean, it's perfect for Halloween.
Disembodied ghostly presence.
I think last year we actually did play Phasmophobia as our like spooky Halloween game. So we should have had more people in our Discord just making haunting ghost sounds the entire time. Anyway, so okay, let's start. Let's start with our first place winner. We're actually going to go down the list from first place all the way down to honorable mentions. And I'm going to read this first one. So our big grand prize winner is called A Follower of Shaggy Jack by Quintarius Quincy. So let me just pop this open and I'll do a dramatic reading for you. I have not read this myself until this moment, so we're going to be discovering this together. It's been a few years since I prayed at the statue of Shaggy Jack. In the beginning, this world that you gifted us was a playground, but over time, wild freedom gave way to a life of relative comfort amongst the zombies. Guilt-free offerings to you, reduced to monotonous hunting parties, culling the horde, now a chore, on the list of daily duties. We grew complacent. We accepted this as our reality, and the worm has turned. The plague has evolved beyond anything we had ever imagined. I now know this was no gift. It was the beginning of a blighted existence. Some say it was a test all along, of courage or faith perhaps. I've seen many fail it. I gaze now at this new twist of fate before me, a blackened heart. Is it mine own? A hellscape of our own making, one that we relished in creating, inadvertently teaching them how to conquer us. I wonder, if I prayed to you now, would you relent? I take my weapon in hand and bare my teeth at it all, knowing that an answer will never come. Not one from you, anyways. Only silence awaits me now. That's it. I love this because not only does it delve into sort of some of our deep lore, our Providence Ridge mascot, Shaggy Jack, but it also it's reacted to recent updates to the game, the curveball update that contained the black heart, like the most threatening heart that we've had so far, and sort of brings in this idea that the plague evolves over time, and who knows where it's going to go in the future. So I really like it for that. That was awesome. So congratulations, Quintarius. That was great. No wonder. Yeah, no wonder a lot of people voted for that one. Well, so Joe has got our...
Spooky.
Oh, what are you saying?
Oh, it gives me like Edgar Allan Poe vibes.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because it's not just like... There wasn't a plot. There was just a situation and an expression of a character's experience. Yeah, it's just a different vibe.
Atmospheric. Yeah. Spooky.
So Joe has got our next one, and this one is actually going to have an illustration that goes with it that was made by Megan Bishop, our artist on our social team. So let me start by giving you the illustration, and then let Joe take it away.
All right, this one's called Pumpkin Perfection by Danger and Oliver. Oliver worked the dull blade into the pumpkin when suddenly the shed door crashed open. He slipped and cut a much larger chunk from the jack-o'-lantern's eye. Damn it, Danger! Oliver glared at his buddy who was carrying a sack of fertilizer. That's my name, don't wear it out. Danger heaved the sack into the corner. Slamming the door screwed up my pumpkin. Sorry, hands were full, so I kicked. Besides, you can always get another. This is the last one. Pumpkin carving contests mean that much? Yes? Alrighty, I'll leave you to your pumpkin perfectionism. You do that. Oliver jabbed his knife into the pumpkin top in frustration as Danger opened the door and was tackled by a snarling red blur. The blood feral roared, but the acoustics shifted as Oliver slammed the pumpkin onto its head, the jack-o'-lantern fitting into place with a squelch. Danger grabbed the knife, still attached to the top. Several neck stabs later, the feral went limp and fell aside. Friggin' freaks! Oliver growled and pulled the jack-o'-lantern free. Gore oozed from the jagged pumpkin mouth. That's gonna be tough to clean, Danger muttered. F that, I'm entering a contest with it just like this.
Oh, that's great. I can see why Megan wanted to illustrate that.
Absolutely. That was just, yeah, you just get the image in your head. That's really funny.
Yeah, and I feel like, have Danger and Oliver figured into our Flash Fiction contest before? That sounds familiar to me. Maybe I'm crazy.
I recognize that name.
Maybe it's just people really love the name Danger. So we've got the name Danger. That's a real name that can show up on a character in the game. And, it comes from that, I think partly it comes from that classic, Danger is my middle name thing. But actually, I mean, it's named after actually two real people that were friends or family members of people on the team. So that I love it when names like Danger sort of show up in people's fiction or in people's favorite games on their favorite characters, because I know there's a story behind it and there's people out there who are being honored by it.
I want it to be like Danger and Oliver and Company. That's the way I keep getting it in my head.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometime I want somebody to be like, instead of being like, my middle name is Danger, right? It'd just be like, nobody calls me Danger. That's my father's name. Just
Please.
that's what I want to hear.
Danger is my father, please.
Just call me Dang. For sure.
All right. So our next winner, I think, Wonder, do you want to announce who it is and do the dramatic reading?
Yes, I'd be delighted. This is our third place winner, Doug's Tragic End. I, fittingly, the incarnation of Doug. For a few weeks now, Derek and Rachel had been regularly visiting their friend before their scavenging runs. Their friend wasn't another human, but instead was a plague juggernaut buried up to its face in the ground. How did it get there? No one knew. But everyone in the valley seemed to have taken a liking to the helpless juggernaut zombie they affectionately named Doug the Jug. Each time they came to visit him, Doug would greet them with a muffled roar and follow their movements with his glowing red eyes. They all joked about how Doug was just mad that he couldn't give them big hugs while he was buried in the ground. But today, Derek and Rachel were greeted with nothing but silence. As they rounded the corner of the house Doug lived behind, they froze in their tracks. "Oh my God!" Rachel gasped. "Someone killed Doug," Derek mumbled in disbelief. Who could do something so heartless? Their friend was still buried in the ground, but his rotting head was turned to a pulp from multiple heavy caliber rounds. One of the last good things in this dark and cruel world, gone forever.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Not Doug! I love it.
I like this for a couple of reasons. One, because in State of Decay 2 we have the zombie hunters who have the little trap facility that no one else can apparently have, and our players have been asking for that as a something they could do for a long time. And so to have someone write a story about sort of like not only just catching a zombie, but like the zombie that would be the hardest to catch, right?
Yeah, what would you have to do? I guess dig an enormous pit.
And a giant pit is what I feel like. I really want to know how they got him in there.
So it feels like when you're writing flash fiction, a lot of times what you want to do is leave a lot of open questions so that somebody else can fill in a larger story from just the seed that you've given them. And this is a really good example of that. All right, it's my turn to read. So this is our fourth place winner. This is going to be Ghost's Nightmare by the Mysterious Wandering Trader. It's always nice. And the Mysterious Wandering Trader, they're always hard to find, but I appreciate it when they come in here and participate in our contests. So here we go. No illustration for this one. A survivor named Ghost, once hopeful, now haunted by relentless hordes of undead. The night was particularly ominous, fog thick as sorrow, obscuring the horrors lurking within. As dusk settled, Ghost and his comrades gathered at their Drucker outpost, barricades creaking in protest. A distant moan echoed through the silence, a harbinger of impending doom. Suddenly, a plague juggernaut emerged from the mist, its malevolent eyes fixated on the beleaguered group. Panic surged, but there was no escape. The once valiant fighters were reduced to mere prey. Ghost's heart pounded, his breath ragged. Desperation fueled his last stand. He fired relentlessly, each shot a desperate plea for survival. In the end, it was futile. The Juggernaut's colossal strength overwhelmed them. One by one they fell, their screams swallowed by the abyss. Ghost, now the sole survivor, stood amidst the carnage, haunted by the loss. The outpost that once held promise now reeked of death. Ghost, wounded and broken, knew the fight was far from over. He gathered what little he could salvage, a solemn reminder of the horrors that lurked beyond the safety of their walls. With a heavy heart, he set out into the unforgiving world, determined to honor the fallen and cling to the sliver of hope that remained. Dark, man! It does feel a little bit like the illustration I happened to already have up was a little bit relevant because it's got this plague juggernaut, but this is not about a dead plague juggernaut, is it? So yeah, I mean, the fact that it's about an outpost specifically being attacked, again, feels like it's kind of cool that folks are writing stories that take place in sort of the latest version of State of Decay 2 from this year, with like the heart attack update, having sieges against outposts, or at least infestations of outposts, things that you have to defend that way. I think it's really cool that people are writing stories that focus on stuff that wasn't even a thing in the game a few years ago.
Yeah, it's neat to see the evolution.
Yeah, it couldn't have been in a previous Flash Fiction contest. Okay, the next one, that's going to be Joe's, and it does have an illustration. So we'll pop this up here and let Joe take it away.
All right, so I just read through this one. And I like the fact that it references some things that are definitely part of our set dressing. All right, so all right, here we go. Dust off the generator, Dan said with a grin. We have a score to settle. Alex looked up from the car manual, watching his longtime friend carry something over the TV. What did you find? He said. I got lucky. Finally found a way into that apartment on Capello. Check it out. Dan held up an old Xbox with some questionable residue on one of the corners. Alex tossed the manual onto the floor. No way! He exclaimed and scrambled to the nearby bookshelf. He skimmed excitedly until he pulled out a game labeled Halo Combat Evolved, featuring a pretty cool guy who doesn't afraid of anything. Fumbling with the controller, Dan swore as he watched the replay of his character getting sniped. Okay, I blame this monstrosity of a controller. It's effing huge. Alex laughed as he collected more ammo for his sniper. Dude, we flipped for it. Loser got the Duke. Fair is fair. Besides all those years boasting about how it would go down if we ever played again, you had it coming. The longtime friends played for hours. Shouts and cheers rang out over the hum of the generator, drawing in dozens of curious silhouettes.
That's nice. I think the curious silhouettes might have been a big part of what made Megan want to illustrate this, because you've got all of the... I like how they've got their hands up celebrating their win, but then the zombies also have their hands up like they're celebrating, but not quite.
I love this illustration so much, so I'm also lightly nervous for them and want them to, like, run over there and nail up a board over the window.
Right. This is like that moment in the film where you're just like, you have all of the information and you just see them like being dumb and doing dumb things, and you're like, don't be dumb, and continue being dumb.
Yeah. No, I love it. And also it gives me a lot of positive memories, because I remember like back when I was in college, this was sort of like playing Halo with a bunch of Duke controllers was like the pastime for me and my friends. Like we would just spend hours just jumping warthogs over the giant arch in Silent Cartographer. So yeah, so that was great. Okay, Wonder has got the next one. So this is getting into our honorable mentions. So the last 5 that we read, those all got $50 gift cards to the Xbox Gear Shop. These next few are Yes, congratulations, everybody. These next few are honorable mentions that didn't get the prize, but they did get our attention largely because they were so fun to illustrate. So, Wonder, want to take it away?
Yes, all right. First, in the honorable mention, we have The Siege of the Moonshine Barn by Isby. As the sun set and the rain grew heavier, Alex and Riley knew they needed to find shelter from the horde of Zeds that pursued them. The Wilkersons' abandoned farm seemed like a perfect refuge for the night, but unfortunately, the house was demolished, forcing the two to take shelter in the Moonshine Barn. On the way to the barn, Alex noticed the distant figure of a scarecrow near Wilkerson's old house. The duo spent the next few hours barricading the place, but Alex couldn't help but check the scarecrow through the gaps in the barn. That thing seemed to get closer every hour. Alex decided to take a nap, but the brief moment of rest was interrupted by the noise of firecrackers outside the back doors. Whoever threw that ended up attracting the horde's attention. The Zeds approached the barn. Riley ran to hold the back doors, asking Alex, go do the same with the front doors. As Alex approached the front door, something cold went through his tummy. Blood started dripping onto the floor. A blade was passing through the gaps in the barn doors, and behind the doors, the scarecrow stood with a bloody machete.
Oh, okay, so in the zombie apocalypse, somebody decided to dress as a scarecrow so they can sneak up and murder people.
I think it's a haunted scarecrow. I think the scarecrow.
You were going supernatural with it. Oh,
yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Certainly with the illustration, that does not look like a person. That just looks like something beyond zombies.
Yeah, I get full Halloween vibes from this. Yeah, no, that was just like, that's you think the zombies are the worst of your fears, but look out for the murderous, haunted, possessed scarecrow standing out in the Wilkerson's field. I love it.
Especially if it has a sign underneath that says Chucky. Just leave that scarecrow alone. It is 100% coming to life.
Do not take a picture with it. Do not steal its hat.
There have been so many zombie apocalypse stories out there. People tend not to mix genres very much, but I think, people keep trying to come up with, like, what is my twist on a zombie apocalypse story? One that actually has, like, in addition to the normal zombie apocalypse, like, actual horror movie ghosts and, like, or this kind of, like, supernatural murderer could actually be kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. I love the juxtaposition. Think you're safe in the barn? No.
Okay, so this next one, I'll be reading this one. This one is called Getting Back Together by Blizz Leopard. It's Friday, so it's time to play our weekly game. It took a lot to get us together after everyone turned into zombies and started eating each other, but I'm not going to let that stop me from being from the one thing I love, and that's running my game and spending time with my friends. Jack's over in Marshall. His dad owns a gun store, and he's our badass cleric. He loves helping people. I just wish I could take off his gag. He tried to bite me twice. Oh no. Delilah's from Fairfield, and she's the preacher's daughter, but you wouldn't know it from how she dresses. Coolest goth chick I know. Now if she could use her one good arm for rolling dice now. The party needs a rogue to pick the lock. Cassidy and Ben are twins who live up behind Jurassic Junction, and they both play fighters. I know everyone says a group needs a wizard, but Cass wanted to be like her brother. They're both staring at me, looking hungry to play. 6 months to find them all. They're not in great shape, but they're here now. Okay, so when we last left our heroes... So I didn't get from the illustration what this was going to be. I love that. So this person's just like, the one good time in my life that I remember before the apocalypse was when I played like D&D with my friends. And so they just, how is this game going to go? Like, I don't even know, but I love this person.
We got to get our D&D game back.
I mean, honestly, if there's zombies, it might actually be easier. Like, at our age, it's so hard to get a group together to play a game like Dungeons & Dragons. It might actually just be easier. Like, if it's just zombies who don't need to eat, don't have lives, just leave them tied up to their chairs, and you can just play Dungeons & Dragons whenever you want. The problem is the conversation, and it won't be as good. But less rules lawyering. So, I don't know.
Or maybe there would be more, because what you're doing is actually like recreating sessions from before the apocalypse in your head. And you're finally able to be like, no, you can't do that. I've told
I
you
win all the fights
times.
now. Yeah, you can't monkey grip 2 halberds. Shut up, whatever. All right.
Oh, 3. Awesome.
So
3
we've
points.
got one last honorable mention. Joe, I think you got this one.
Yeah. And we got an illustration if it's not up.
There it is.
All right, so we have our beloved Norma. Survivor Story, Dave and Jordan by Zombie Slayer. All right. Dave decided to go out and tackle an enemy enclave yesterday. He planned to lure hordes of zombies to them. He never came back. I've traveled with Dave since the beginning. I remember the look on his face when we found that rusted Norma. Damn, did he love his cars. That night, I went after him. I headed toward the abandoned pharmacy. When I got there, realized he'd actually pulled it off. Must have been 50 Zeds piled in there, still munching on the bastards. Good riddance. Up the road, I saw old Blue, that Norma he'd loved so much. As I got closer, the headlights illuminated the rust-marked siding, and I see that orange hoodie he always wore coming around. Once he stepped into those halogen beams, my heart sank. His skin was pale, his eyes had that yellow glow, bites on his arm, and his chest full of holes. I walked over and put him out of his misery. Buried him behind the fire station. Decided it be best to leave. Just didn't feel like home anymore. Taking Blue to greener pastures. Heard some promising things about Meager Valley. Rest in peace, buddy.
Aw.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a lot of experiences that I've had in State of Decay 2, like stumbling upon the body of a dead friend.
Yeah, rest in peace, buddy.
Megan just made a note to us in Slack, by the way. She said, did Geoffrey just say that he'd rather play games with zombies than his friends? I hope none of them are watching. Well, it's been years since I've gotten to play a D&D group with friends, and so I think a lot of them might feel the same level of desperation that I feel to make that happen.
To be fair, I don't think that you said that you would prefer it. I just think that you said that it would be easier.
Yeah, easier. It's easier to make it happen. Not better, just easier to make it happen. I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I love
Go ahead.
how hard it is to get the D&D group together. That is, especially in the zombie apocalypse, it's even harder. No one can Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. But I especially love. Yeah, I was going to say, I especially love this latest story, how the attention that they paid to the Norma, because it's like, so many of us, it's like one of our favorite parts of the game is this old car. So we got distracted by the D&D thing again, but I just wanted to say, Zombie Slayer, nice work. We really appreciate you writing this thing.
Yeah, everybody loves that Norma.
Yeah, big congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much for all the submissions. It was so exciting. Reading all of these, and this is our second year doing it. It was such a popular contest from last year, so we made some improvements, and just super love all the stories from the community. You guys are really talented. We've loved all the original writing, and we can't wait to do this again next year. Congrats to all the winners.
Yeah, totally, and thank you. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
And I'm just always in awe. Like a lot of people play video games to be told a story. I'm always in awe of how many people who play our game want to tell their own story, even after all these years. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also thank you, Wonder, for you and your team for putting together this contest and making it happen. That's been awesome too. And I know that you probably go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I would say shout out to Heather and also to our amazing leaders in Discord. They have been so helpful. And thank you to Megan for illustrating. And she also recused herself from the voting. But I just want to also say that we got some members of our narrative team in here reading some of these stories. And that contributed to the voting. So I getting your stories read. I love it. Here at the lab, and we're really, really enjoying it. So thank you guys all so much.
Yeah, you were getting evaluated by true professionals. So there you go.